What is up, everybody? It is True Traveler the Brain Beast here with another video, and by popular demand and a poll that I posted, seems like a lot of people want to see me do a Dino deck profile. I enjoy this deck. This is a pretty cool deck. It's really good at going second, and it can put up some pretty solid boards going first. And I think that the fun thing about it is that it's not like ridiculously expensive anymore, because almost everything got a reprint. Obviously there's some cards in here that are going to be worth some money, but if you need to make modifications to make it cheaper, you absolutely can, which is awesome for anyone who's trying to play the game on a budget. And for me personally, the deck is very fun. That's something important, is that if you enjoy playing the deck that you're playing, then you're going to have a much better time overall. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right on into this, and we'll start with the main deck per usual. Alright, so starting with the main deck, I am going over my usual 40 here, but we'll talk about that after. So I'm playing 2 Ultimate Conductor because you really only need 2 of it. Usually 1 is enough to finish the game. 2 is if you're getting to more of a grind game. But yeah, usually 1 of this does the trick, and you can close the game out fairly easily. So really cool. 1 copy of Pankratops, which is a great going second card, no matter what the format for the most part. It wasn't great in like tier format, but other than that, I think this card is decent in almost every single format that I've ever played when the card was legal. And 1 copy of Dogran. Kaijus are pretty good. They get over stuff, and this is searchable in this deck, which is even better. So yeah, Dogran, in my opinion, is a fantastic card. Then I play 3 copies of Ovi because why wouldn't you? This card is like the best card in your deck. It just does everything for you. So yeah, you got to play 3 copies of this. It searches or dumps, it specials and pops, like all this kind of stuff, and it's level 4 on top of that. So yeah, level 4s are actually good in this deck because you can make some pretty sweet XYZ monsters. Then Giant Rex and Misk, I think that these don't really need much of an explanation here. These cards are fantastic. It's sad that this card is still at 1, but hey, it is what it is. Hopefully one day we'll get it back to multiple. And the Giant Rex does have a lot of utility in here. It's really good in multiple scenarios, which we will cover in the second video, the second part of the video, not this video, but the second part of the series, I guess you could call it, in which I'll kind of teach you how to play this deck so you get an idea as to what it does. But I think that Giant Rex is a fantastic card, and everyone will see why in the next video. Then we play 2 copies of Scrap Raptor and 1 Scrap Chimera. I don't think you need 3 Raptor. 3 is kind of overkill. It does kind of suck if you draw 1 of it, but I mean, it's not something that's the worst thing in the world. It's not the end of the world either. So if you draw 1, it's like, okay, that kind of sucks, but it could be a lot worse. So yeah, this package is really good. It helps you combo off more, and if you're in game, or if you're going second, I should say, in the game, you can kind of use them as extenders to push more. So yeah, really good engine. Then we're playing 3 Baby, and I'm actually playing 1 Petite. I think these are all worth playing at the ratios that I have them at. If you were going for more of a True King based build, I'd probably actually up this to 2 or 3, but I'm just going for kind of like a blowout going second OTK variation here. So yeah, really good stuff. I like that engine. Then we're playing 2 Animadorn. This card just says that we're gonna get an Ultimate Conductor out, and we're gonna extend most likely with whatever we pop. So yeah, Animadorn is really good. It's also level 1, so you can use it to make Link Kuriboh, and that's actually very important in some of the combos with this deck. Then the last real monster that we play is 1 copy of Lithosagum. I know the card's at 3 now, but you really don't need it. If you want to play like a combo variation, like I said, go for it, but that's not what I'm going for. I think that the 1 that we can play is just perfectly fine. Moving on to the spells, though, I have 3 copies of Prosperity because this card says you can get to whatever cards you need to combo. So yeah, you should probably be able to get to your cards to combo. I don't think it needs much more of an explanation. The only downside that I will explain about this card is that it halves the damage your opponent takes for the rest of the turn. So OTKing can be a little more difficult, but usually the board that you end on is so well established that your opponent can't really break it on the crackback. So yeah, 3 prosperity. Really good card. 3 copies of Fossil Dig because it says grab your dinos that you need. Whether you need a Misc, whether you need an OV, whatever the case is, you can get it with Fossil Dig. So yeah, play 3 of this card, please. It's literally Rhoda for the deck. 2 copies of Double Evolution Pill. It's one of those things where like playing 2 is actually kind of decent. Like obviously you usually just resolve 1 in the course of a game, but there's going to be times where you kind of need a second one, whether it's to search it out or you're in a grind game. So yeah, that's pretty much why I'm playing 2. And then field spells, 3 copies of Lost World and 1 copy of Diagram and 1 Terraforming. So Lost World is like really good, especially against Kashtira, because you're giving them a token, which is like amazing. So that's kind of like a lock to their board. Additionally, it kind of makes your stuff pretty much untargetable. Like that's a big thing. So yeah, and it gives you chain blocking potential. Like they're not gonna be able to Ash or Overraptor if you have this up. So that's pretty cool. And the Diagram is just a search to Lithosagum. You pop like a baby in hand, and then like you just go off. And obviously Terraforming is just whatever you need. Then the last spell that I play is one Called By. Yeah, it's Called By. I don't really know what else to say. Banish your opponent's stuff. Then moving on to the going second stuff, just hand traps, 3 Ash, Gamma package, and 3 Imperm. This doesn't need much of an explanation either. This is just a really good going second package. And seeing we're choosing to go second, that's kind of nice to have these as an engine. Typically, you'll see at least one of them as far as the math goes. So that's actually really sweet, because you want to be able to cut your opponent off and then OTK them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But moving on to the extra deck now, seeing that was the main deck, I believe we're at 43 cards in the main. The reason I'm at 43 is because there are a lot of cards that are engine cards that you should play, and you also need to play enough going second cards to break boards. If you're playing on a budget and you can't like spend a certain amount of money, then you could cut the prosperities, which would put the deck to 40 cards, and you'd save yourself a good chunk of cash. But obviously, if you're playing an upgraded, fully decked out version, I would get the prosperities, and I think 43 cards is good too, because it lowers your chances of drawing cards like Driver and Scrap Raptor and Scrap Chimera. So that's actually pretty good too. But let's go ahead and jump on over to the extra deck. All right, so extra deck, we're going to start with the XYZ monsters. 1 Dolka and 1 Logia. I feel like this is just kind of staple in Dino extra decks. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't play it. These cards are just really good. They're negations, which is fantastic. 1 copy of Dugares. This card comes up a lot. I think this card is just fantastic. I don't see a reason to cut this card ever. Even though you're playing Prosperity, even if you don't do the draws, or you could even, if you have Prosperity, you could even banish this off of Prosperity. That way you don't have to worry about the whole not drawing thing. But you can also special from grave if you wanted to as well, or if you're going second, you could always double the attack of a monster you control, which could definitely result in game. So that's pretty cool. And then I do play a Zeus package. I think Exciton and Zeus are worth playing because you make the Exciton and you wipe, and if they have anything left, you attack it, and or if they have nothing left, you attack, you hit for 0 directly, and then main phase 2, this will have material on it, and then you just make a Zeus, and then you have another board wipe. Yeah, that's actually crazy. I'm doing this in Trap Tricks as well, except in Trap Tricks I'm playing 2 Zeus. Yeah, I think this engine, you like any deck that you can make rank 4s in, you should be playing this engine in. Like 100% you should be doing so. So that's pretty cool. The 1 synchro that I play is Savage. I don't play any other synchros. I think that the 1 is fine. I definitely lean more towards Link summoning than anything else as far as extra deck. Well, I say that, but at the same time, XYZ stuff does come up. But mostly linking is what you're going to find is typically happening with the deck. So I don't have a reason to run more than one synchro. There are ways that you can play like Nat Beast in this deck, and I just didn't want to do that. So we just stuck with the Savage. And moving on to the Link monsters, the Link Karibo and the Secure Gardener. A lot of times I actually just banish this card off of Prosperity. I don't know. I usually make the Link Karibo, and I use Link Karibo and Scrap Raptor to make Scrap Wyvern, and then this card ends up just sitting in my extra deck. So yeah, you can usually banish this off of Prosperity. It's not going to hurt you. Like, getting rid of this card isn't that bad. There's obviously an argument to be made that you could just play a different card in your extra deck too. So yeah, if you want to do that, obviously go for it. But at the same time, the only reason that I don't want to cut this is that if I need a non-dino in my grave, then I can make the Link Karibo and then link the Link Karibo for this, and now I have my non-dino in grave for Double Evolution Pill. So yeah, that's the one argument that I have to keep the Secure Gardener. Other than that, the card never comes up. Link 2s, I play a Lambda, a Pentastag, a Scrap Wyvern, and a Nightmare Phoenix. I banish this card off of every single Prosperity that I ever resolve. I think this may actually be the worst card in the extra deck. If you like go first and you open a Gamma and you like need to make it, like, cool, sure, that's nice. I just don't think the card is that useful, like, to be perfectly honest with you. I think there are far better cards that can be played, but everything else I think is really good. The Pentastag helps for OTKs, the Scrap Wyvern combos, and the Nightmare Phoenix handles back row. So yeah, I think those four are worth noting in that respect. And then the only Link 3 we play is one Unicorn, because Unicorn and Phoenix are both spot removal cards, and you should probably have some of that if you're trying to OTK. And then I play Appaloosa and Access Code for the Link 4s. If you're trying to set up a board to just kind of like slow your opponent down, obviously Appaloosa is the way to go. But if you're trying to OTK and break the board, you're probably going to make Access Code, which is a fantastic card, because a lot of times you can make it up to like 53 because you use the Unicorn as a material, and that gives you at least one pop using the Unicorn as a material. And if you have any other Link monsters in grave, like a Scrap Wyvern, which if you combo correctly you should, then you do have 2 pops off of Access Code. So that is the extra deck. I think that the extra deck for the most part is pretty solid. Like I said, some stuff, it's like you usually just banish it off of Prosperity. And to be perfectly fair too, this deck does not need to rely solely on the extra deck to win the game. You have Conductor, which is just a crazy card that can close out games very fast. So yeah, don't worry as much about the extra deck as you do about your main deck. But let's go ahead and hop on over to the side deck so you can see what we put in for games 2 and 3. Alright, so starting off, you are seeing a card that, if you followed my channel for a while, is a card that I love. I have side deck Lancia in a lot of decks that I have done very well with, and this format, having this card back, in my opinion, is very important. It hurts Kashtira a lot, it hurts Runic a lot, and those are 2 decks that you really don't want to deal with when you're playing dinos. So having something like Lancia is an amazing thing to have. I think playing 3 of this card is just perfect, and you can swap out a hand trap if need be from your main deck and just kind of, you know, hit them with a Lancia, and then what are they going to do? They can't banish for the turn, that's for sure. Then the spells, 3 Dark Ruler. This is good against, you know, anything that is going to be difficult to break for a board. So I think that the Dark Rulers are fantastic. Shut your opponent's board off, make it so they can't do that much. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. It's Dark Ruler. Like, what else do you want me to say? It's a good card. Then I play 2 Dark Hole. So the reason I play Dark Hole, there's a few, and a lot of it does get into technical play, but for me, like, if I get hit with an Ibly, I want to be able to get rid of the Ibly. So playing something like Dark Hole is obviously a fantastic out to that. If I need to just wipe a board, I can wipe a board. I can also like put a baby on field and dark hole, and then that'll trigger the baby, which is crazy. So yeah, that's really, really cool. There's an argument to be made too that you could play like Kaiju Slumber and then some other Kaijus and also go that route. But yeah, that really isn't as good. I think Dark Hole is significantly better. So yeah, we're playing Dark Hole, which is totally a throwback. Then the removal cards here, we have Feather Duster and Evenly's. I think that both of these cards are worth siding. Labyrinth is a deck, Trap Tricks is a deck, so you want to be able to play through those decks as much as possible, and these cards definitely do that for you. I mean, seeing you're going second, you can always just use Misk, and like Misk kind of helps you a lot in those matchups. So yeah, I mean that's kind of a big thing. You know, you drop Misk against a trap deck, you'd probably be able to clear their back row before you go battle phase, and then they just lose the game. So yeah, that's the important stuff to note there. And then lastly, if we go first, I side in 3D barrier. I think that's probably standard at this point in a lot of decks currently. This card hurts pretty much every deck in the meta. It's going to hurt Kashtira. It's going to hurt Branded. It's going to hurt Sword Soul. It's literally going to hurt everything. I don't want to list every single deck in the meta, but those 3 decks alone are going to get hurt very, very badly by this card. So, in my opinion, fully worth side decking 3 barriers because you just blow your opponent out with this card on top of whatever your established board already was. And we are playing the Prosperities, like I mentioned before, so you may be able to hit this a little more easily with Prosperity. Or if you Dugaris, you could draw into it with a Dugaris. So, yeah, D-Barrier, great card. It's just a card that tells your opponent no, pretty much. But that rounds everything up for the profile here for Dinos. Like I said, this is going to be a 2-part series. The next video, I will teach you how to play it. Hopefully, I can upload that video soon. We just broke 2,000 subs, I think, last week or the week before, which is really, really cool. I'm trying to push that number way up by the end of the year. I think my goal is like 2,500 at the minimum. So hopefully we can get there. That'd be really cool if we could break 2,500. If we could break 3,000, that'd be even cooler. Yeah, so if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload more cool and awesome content like the video you just watched. And for right now, this is Drew, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, signing out.